Few friends is not an accident. Most people assume loneliness means something went wrong, that you failed socially, that you didn't try hard enough, that you lacked warmth, effort, or courage. That assumption is false. Having few friends is not a mistake. It is a consequence. Most people form bonds through comfort, shared habits, shared opinions, shared noise. You don't operate there. You notice things others ignore. Tone shifts, forced laughter, interest that isn't real. And once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. So you pull back, not dramatically, not with anger. Quietly, naturally. People don't leave because you push them away. They leave because shallow connection cannot survive depth. You still function. You work. You improve. You show stability on the surface. Yet relationships fade without explanation. No argument, no betrayal, just distance. That distance is not rejection. It is filtration. You think before you speak. You feel before you attach. You require meaning before closeness. That alone removes most people from your path. Social interaction costs you energy. Not because you are weak, because you are aware. Awareness is expensive. You delay replies. You cancel simple plans. You choose silence over performance, not to isolate, to preserve clarity. And still, you are not closed to connection. You want one thing only, one person who understands your silence. One bond that does not demand you shrink or pretend. That desire is not loneliness. It is selectivity. The truth most people never hear is this. The fewer friends you have, the more precise your inner structure tends to be. And once you understand why, you stop questioning yourself. You stop explaining your distance. You stop chasing circles that were never built for you. Few friends is not an accident. It is evidence. Chapter 1. The Misunderstood Pattern. Most people misunderstand distance. They think it is created by fear, by arrogance, by social weakness. That belief is convenient and wrong. Distance is often created by perception. You do not move through interactions automatically. You process them. You observe before you attach. You sense before you invest. That alone changes everything. Most people socialize on the surface. They exchange reactions. They follow momentum. They adapt to tone. You don't adapt that easily. You pause. You listen. You feel the atmosphere before participating. And while that pause seems invisible to you, others feel it immediately. Not as rejection, as hesitation. People are drawn to ease, not accuracy. Ease feels safe. Ease feels familiar. Ease allows people to relax without thinking. Your presence asks them to be more aware. You notice contradictions. You sense when words and intent do not align. You detect when emotion is performed instead of felt. That awareness creates internal friction, not conflict, friction. Most people do not want to be examined. They want to be mirrored. When they are not mirrored, they drift. So they step back, quietly, naturally, without confrontation. This is why your relationships rarely end explosively. They dissolve. No argument, no clear reason, just a gradual widening of space. You are left wondering what changed. Nothing did. Your structure was always there. You think deeply. That depth does not turn off. It follows you into conversation, into silence, into connection. And depth filters. People who rely on surface rhythm feel unsettled around you. They cannot name it. They simply feel off. So they interpret. They label, they simplify. Cold, distant, hard to read. Those labels are not diagnoses, they are defenses. It is easier to call you distant than to admit they feel exposed. The truth is this: you do not lack social skill, you possess social awareness. And awareness is not neutral, it changes the rules. You do not bond through repetition. You bond through meaning. You do not connect through frequency, you connect through alignment. That eliminates volume. Volume belongs to those who need constant reinforcement. Depth belongs to those who carry stability internally. You learned early how to regulate yourself. When something felt heavy, you handled it alone. When something broke, you repaired it quietly. That independence became normal. It also became invisible. People bond by sharing load. When you carry yours alone, others do not know where they fit, so they fade. This is not abandonment, it is misalignment. Your system does not depend on constant interaction to function. Your center is internal, and systems with internal centers require fewer external supports. That does not make you superior, it makes you selective. And selectivity, when misunderstood, looks like isolation. But isolation is not what is happening. Filtering is. And once you recognize that pattern, distance stops feeling like failure. It starts making sense. Chapter 2. The law you keep violating. There is a law beneath every social system. Belonging is built on similarity, not depth. Most people connect by matching rhythm. They agree quickly, they laugh together, they move in sync. You interrupt that flow without trying. You question when others accept. You pause when others rush. You observe when others react. That difference creates friction, not conflict. Friction. Groups stabilize themselves by reducing friction. They do not attack what disrupts them, they create distance from it. That is the law you keep violating without knowing it. You assume honesty builds closeness. It does not. Honesty builds clarity. Clarity is threatening. You assume depth attracts depth. It does, but only in those who can handle it. Most people cannot. So they regulate, they soften contact, they limit exposure, they step back. You feel this as loss, but it is correction. Another law follows. Emotional exchange requires visible expression. You feel deeply, but you express carefully. You listen with precision. You respond with thought before emotion. Others need immediacy. They need mirrored feeling. They need reassurance spoken aloud. When they do not receive it, they assume absence. Invisible care is interpreted as no care, so people disengage, not because you failed them, but because they never found the entrance to you. This creates a quiet conflict. Be yourself and lose people. Perform and lose yourself. So you choose efficiency. You narrow your circle. You conserve energy. You accept solitude as function. Not because you fear connection, because you understand cost. Here is the final law. The more ordered your inner world becomes, the fewer external bonds it requires. That is not a preference, it is architecture. And architecture does not negotiate. Your distance is not resistance, it is consequence. Once you stop fighting that law, pressure dissolves. Confusion quiets. You stop asking what is wrong with you. You start seeing what is precise. And precision always reduces quantity. Chapter 3. The cost of precision. Once you understand the laws, a shift occurs. You stop trying to fix what was never broken. Most people exhaust themselves chasing compatibility. They adjust tone, They soften truth. They stay longer than they should. You don't have that tolerance. Your system detects misalignment early, before attachment forms, before damage accumulates. That early detection saves you time. It also costs you numbers. Precision removes excess. It cuts quickly, cleanly, without drama. That is why your circle shrank before it ever grew. You are not built to maintain many weak bonds. You are built to sustain few strong ones, and strong bonds require exact fit. When fit is missing, you withdraw, not emotionally, structurally. You reduce exposure, you limit access, you protect your bandwidth. This is not fear, it is calibration. Most people confuse availability with openness. They believe being reachable equals being connected. You know better. Connection without alignment drains you. Presence without meaning empties you. So you choose space over noise. That choice looks like loneliness to those who cannot sit with themselves. But solitude is not absence, it is containment. In that containment, you think clearly, you regulate fully, you rebuild quietly. This is why time alone strengthens you, instead of breaking you. You are not waiting to be rescued by connection. You are complete before it arrives. That completeness unsettles people. They feel unnecessary, so they leave. Not because you rejected them, because they could not locate themselves in your life. This is the cost of precision. Fewer invitations, fewer messages, fewer faces, but also fewer compromises, fewer performances, fewer self-betrayals. What remains is not isolation, it is alignment in progress. You are not missing out, you are filtering forward. And what survives that filtration is not frequent, it is real. Chapter 4. Quiet authority. At a certain point, something settles. You stop waiting for social validation to confirm your worth. You realize most people move in groups because they need reflection to feel real. They borrow certainty from numbers. They stabilize through proximity. You do not. Your stability is internal. You regulate without witnesses. You endure without applause. That is not common. And what is uncommon is often left alone. Walking without constant companionship is not evidence of rejection. It is evidence of self-containment. You are not scattered across relationships to maintain identity. You remain whole within yourself. That wholeness is difficult to enter. Most people are not excluded by force. They are excluded by incompatibility. You do not bend easily. You do not mirror automatically. You do not dissolve into environments. You remain yourself. That consistency creates quiet authority. Authority does not chase attention. It does not explain itself. It does not compete for belonging. It stands. And standing still while others adapt creates distance. Not because you are above them, but because you are anchored. The right people are not drawn to noise. They are drawn to stability. They do not rush you. They do not demand access. They recognize structure when they see it. Those people are rare. They arrive slowly, and they stay. Until then, solitude is not a punishment. It is a holding space. A place where your mind sharpens, where your values solidify, where your direction becomes clear. You are not passing time alone. You are preparing alignment. You were never meant to belong everywhere. You were meant to belong precisely. And precision always reduces numbers. But what remains carries weight, real weight. What have we learned? Having few friends is not a failure to correct. It is a pattern to understand. You learned that distance does not always come from fear. It often comes from perception, from depth that filters early, from awareness that makes shallow bonds collapse on contact. You learned that belonging favors similarity, not insight. That groups stabilize by removing friction, and that your independence, honesty, and precision create friction without intention. You learned that emotional self-sufficiency looks like strength and feels like absence to those who need exchange to bond. That invisible care is often misread, and that misreading creates quiet exits, not explosions. Most of all, you learned this: your structure requires fewer supports. That is not preference, it is architecture. When you stop measuring yourself by volume, clarity returns. Pressure dissolves, confusion quiets. You no longer ask why others drift. You understand why they cannot stay. Alignment replaces chasing. Selectivity replaces guilt. Solitude becomes space, not punishment. Thank you for watching. If this resonated, it is because it named something you already live with. You were not meant to fit into every circle. You were meant to stand intact where it matters. Few friends is not an accident. It is evidence of precision. And precision always reduces numbers before it reveals what is real. That is not loss. That is design. Thank you for watching.